Hi, my name is Teresa Tui, and I'm with Grand Trine Astrology, and I use Luna software in my practice, and I'm going to show you why I use it, and then I'm going to show you a whole bunch of features. So stick with me as long as you want, but I want to show you the main reasons why I use it first. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. So right now you see the wheel in front of you. And what really sold me on this program was that I can isolate aspects. So I am an aspect transit person, big time. So let's just see right now, if I click on Jupiter, if you notice, a lot of the other placements have disappeared, but we see that Jupiter's conjunct Mercury, it is sextile to Mars, it's trine right now, out of sign trine, but it is making a trine with Neptune, opposition to Pluto, and a sextile to the moon. So I like, and then of course they square to Chiron. So I like how easy it is to just click on something, and then when I click back on Jupiter over here, the whole um, the whole horoscope, the whole wheel comes back into play. So it makes it quite easy, especially if you are with a client and you want to isolate what you're talking about. So that's one of the main reasons why I use it. But I also love the space-time navigator. It's so easy to use. I can just click 1 day forward, or I can hit the drop down, do 1 year forward, 1 month, 1 hour, 1 minute. It's just really even 1 week. It just makes it very easy to navigate, especially when you're doing transit work. So I'm going to show you in just a moment how I do this with my own chart. So So I go to the top toolbar here and I go to charts, and I can go ahead and type in my name. And I've got a series of different charts that I've made for myself. And here we go. This is my birth chart. So I don't use anybody else's chart when I do these videos. And here we have my birth chart. But like if I wanted to see what was going on today, I can click on the transit wheel and see how it is impacting my chart. So right now, I know that Neptune is right on top of my midheaven, which is funny because I go through ups and downs as far as how busy I am. And with Neptune on top of my midheaven, I've been really slow the past couple of weeks. That's why I'm doing this video. One of the reasons, I mean, it's been on my list for a long time to do this video, but it's why I'm doing it now. And of course, this creates some self-doubt in regards to my practice. Whenever I mean, it's typical when anybody slows down as far as work, you're going to have some self-doubt. But that Neptune right on top of my midheaven, whoo, it's a doozy. I feel it. But I can look at the different transits, but let's just say I wanted to see what the sun was up to. Well, the sun just went into the sign of Cancer because today is June 21st, 2026. And here we have the sun conjunct my Jupiter. So here I am on screen making a video. You just can't make this stuff up. And of course, it is in opposition to my natal Venus. This Venus Jupiter opposition is why I've struggled with weight my entire life. So yes, I am throwing some astrology in on here. But this I can isolate. What is the sun up to? What aspects is it making? And of course, it is making a square to my midheaven and an opposition to my Venus, along with that conjunction to Jupiter. But here's what I really like is that space-time navigator. Let's go see, when will things change? So I can go ahead and just move like months. So a lot of times when I'm doing transit readings for clients, I will go 1 month at a time, kind of look at what's happening. And then if I see something, then sometimes I'll backtrack or go forward a few days. But I can go a month here, and now we have Jupiter, which was in Cancer. Now it's in my second house. And it is, oh, well, this is when we're going to have that Barbeau basket this year. So we're going to have Jupiter at 4 degrees, Uranus at 4 degrees, Neptune at 4 degrees, and Pluto at 4 degrees. I've written an article on it. I wrote it on January 19th. I just went back to it and I was like, wow, like usually, I go back to some of my prior articles and I'm like, oh, Teresa, you were a little off on this or that. I really like what I wrote on that article, so check it out. But anyway, so, but this can tell me now I've got Jupiter in my second house. There's a good chance that income would start increasing again. Neptune's now going into retrograde. What did I learn from this time period where it was slow? What else have I implemented? So there's a lot of stuff going on in regards to my chart. The sun's no longer conjunct Jupiter. And then I go a month forward and I can still see other things going on, and I actually went 2 months forward as Jupiter progresses through my second house. We now have the North Node in the eighth house. So dealing back with those themes of what it means in regards to the eighth house. And unfortunately, I kind of know what it means because there's something happening in my personal life. I mean, not directly, so don't worry about me, but more so like an extension of the past. But yeah, so this is a good way to go ahead and see what is happening in your life, or your client's life by using the transits. So I'm going to remove the transits for a moment, just show you some other things that I really enjoy about this program. So I'm going to go to this infographic real quick, and I use this with my clients at the start of a reading. I spend like 2-3 minutes on it, but I love that it gives an easy visual to lean into the start of a reading with a client. So of course, I always make sure that I have their information correctly, and that gives me that ability there because it's still listed, my birthday, birth time. And then, of course, I can say, oh, okay, so you're a Scorpio sun, a Pisces moon, and a Cancer rising. There is some little information, but there's not much information as far as delineation in Luna. It is a program that is specific for students or astrologers. It is not an app that's, gives you generic information. I love the zodiac attributes, how it will tell, like as we see, I don't have much fixed energy in my chart. Even though my sun and Neptune are fixed, I have a lot of mutable energy in my chart. I have a hard time staying focused sometimes. I really can go with the flow. Um, but I do take initiative because my chart angles are all cardinal. I have a lot of water in my chart, followed by fire, some earth, not that much air. Um, Aspect distribution, I have a lot of trines in my chart, some sextiles. I hardly have any squares in my chart. And yes, I will say it is a blessing. I know people who have a lot of squares in their chart. It's definitely a much harder lifetime. This doesn't mean that I don't have issues though, because when you have a lot of trines and sextiles in your chart, you wind up getting hit by a lot of squares in regards to the transits. So a lot of my change tends to happen external. So just something that, I go over with my clients. And then the declination map. I know Outer Bounds planets is getting much more attention. It's not something that's usually captured in a reading. However, if you want to go there with your clients, I have 2 planets out of bounds, my Mars and my Venus. No wonder my love life has been the way that it has been. But yeah, so you could address that if that's something that you do. And then it gives you just the distribution as far as the planets as well. So this is a nice little infographic, especially when you're first warming up with a client. That's how I use it. You don't have to use it, but I'm just showing you that Luna covers that information. Now, I do love clicking on the aspects. And the reason why this is going to show you if the aspects are separating or applying, what the orb is. It just gives you a big list here. Now, I usually use this more for mundane astrology because I'm looking at the actual wheel with the client, but I use this often, especially when I'm doing mundane work. And then you also have the chart points. Again, I use this a lot with mundane astrology, but this also shows you another area where you can see with the declination of out of bounds planets. So that's something that's really helpful. So there's actually two areas that you can quickly find planets being out of bounds. Now you can also add, because we're in the chart points, I could add more more chart points. So let's just say I wanted to get Sirius and Pallas Athena and Juno and Vesta. All I have to do is click and they're going to be added. Now I have some fixed stars in my chart. So let's just say I wanted to add and I know I misspelled that. Alpheka. Sorry. I wanted to add Alpheka into my chart. I can do that, but that's the wrong Alpheka. Okay, I don't know the spelling of it, so I'm serious. Sorry, when I'm on screen, I get a little weird and my spelling goes out the window. But let's just say I wanted to add Sirius to my chart because I do have it, and Vega as well. I have Alpheka too, but I don't know why I'm having a hard time knowing how to spell it at the moment, but that's okay. I'm human. If I was with a client, I would already have this all written out. So, but here, oh, I'm no longer on my chart. So hold on, let me go back to my chart. But if I want to see my chart, oh, what did I do? Sorry, I went to click and add. Okay. I need to slow down and take a deep breath. Okay, so if I want to add my chart, which actually this shows you really quick. So by mistake, I'm actually going to show you something. So let's just say you have what's going on, because right now we got June 21st, we have the regular transit chart, and I want to add myself back in. I just hit on transit wheel, type in my name, and then I can go ahead and pull it up. So here we have my chart, and you can see I have Sirius conjunct my my ascendant. I also have Vesta right there as well. And then we have Vega on my descendant. So if you are someone who is an astrologer that's into fixed stars or into asteroids, that's there too. So there's all the different placements. Now, when I am meeting with a client, I usually don't go through, well, I do fix stars, but I don't usually go into the dwarf planets. I usually do that on subsequent readings, depending on what a client comes to me for. So, but just showing you that you can load this up, and just like I was showing you with the sun that you can isolate, you can also isolate my ascendant. Not fun right now, but that's okay, because that's the cool thing about transits, is that things don't last forever. So they do change. Well, some things do, but for the most part, things change. So, so anyway, so this is, as I was showing you how you can add chart points. So I can go ahead and I'm going to remove the transits here real quick. And you can also pull up midpoints. I'm not going to go through everything. I could actually add chart notes, which is something that I don't usually do, but I probably should. This would be really good for my own practice, but this can be really good for you. And you can just add a bunch of chart notes, especially if you have a recurrent client or if a client has something in particular. I want to show you something else that you can do besides that. So I'm going to go ahead and go back to my chart. You can also edit the chart and you can add tags. So like I could put astrologer as far as my, I want to tag this and look at charts of other astrologers. I could actually look up charts if I had them all tagged. So, in a lot of the other charts that I'm going to show you in here have that. And you can also share the chart. So if you ever wonder, if you read my articles and you're like, oh, how does she do that image, without a background? I just click image and I can open it up and you can see the image here and it won't have a background, which is really nice if you are making charts and putting it into articles, or if you're creating something to give to your clients. This is a great way to do so. So a lot of features just right here. So many, many things that Luna has. Now, Luna doesn't have everything, and I'm not going to tell you that it does, but for an astrologer who is meeting with clients, it has a lot of features. So do you have to even have this coloration? So I'm going to go to this top here. So this is my account as I hit the drop down at my name. So it can give me all my settings. So let's go ahead and I'm going to click on my settings here. As you know, you may have noticed I use whole signs, but I can change the color theme. And there's another place I can change the color theme. And that's another thing that I really like about this program is that you can use it the way that it feels best for you. And not everything is stuck in one place. But you can use either full color or monochrome for the, which I like the full color, for the placements, different chart styles, how you want that outer rim to be. And as you see, I like mine stacked. And then chart point indicators, whether you don't want any, you can hide them, you can show them, you could show the connections, or only show the indicator connections on focus, which is what I was doing when I was clicking. You can auto scale, which I have, or you can have things bleed over. I like to have everything auto scaled, me personally. I can have no aspect lines or aspect lines. And then look at all these house systems. So we have, the traditional house systems. We have the quadrant house systems like Placidus and Porphyry. We also have, there's a lot here, just so you know, it's all here. And then, and then you can also have, change the sizes of the houses, the lines, geocentric or based on the parallax moon. You can do lot calculations, planetary nodes, and then change what type of zodiac. So yes, this can do Vedic astrology as well. And you can do, composite midpoint base. I mean, there's just a lot of different configurations here. I'm not going to change mine right now because in regards to the dark mode, I'm going to show you another area. So there's this toggle switch right here. So I can switch it to dark mode just with this toggle switch. So if you're someone who likes the dark mode better, you can do that. I prefer light mode. I don't know why. I've just always been that way. When I see dark websites, I tend to click off of them, but other people are just the opposite. If it's too light, they do they click off. So whatever works best for you. There's also I just want to show you there's a little question mark here with a knowledge base. And in this knowledge base, you have how-to videos. So even though I'm giving a little bit of a high-level overview and how-to, there are a long series of how-to videos that Kevin has put together to take you through everything that you need in astrology. And then there's also a knowledge base as well. So a lot of information here at your fingertips. But I find that Luna tends to be, if you just click around, you can't really screw up anything. Another thing that I really like about Luna is that it's web-based, so you don't have to download anything, which I appreciate because I can use it on any device. I could have a tablet and put it on there. I can even use it on my phone. And Kevin has instructions on how to create your own little shortcut so that it opens up like an app on your phone. So it's really flexible. And that's what I like about web-based programs is their flexibility. Now, don't get me wrong, I like to download programs as well. But I like the fact that if for some reason my computer crapped out, I can go use, I have a laptop, I have, I could just, and this has happened before where I've had to use my laptop and I just go ahead and do the reading on the laptop as opposed to my desktop computer. So I love that flexibility. Okay. Now, I want to show you some other things that I absolutely love. And just by the way, this probably will be a pretty long video. And I could go into, like, I could actually talk about this program for probably 6 hours if I wanted to. But adding a chart is quite easy. So there's this little plus sign right here, new chart. Just click on it and you can add the name. Testy test. We could create a birth date. Let's just go ahead and do January 1st, 1970 at 12 p.m. And we can do, I live in, I'm going to put Omaha, Nebraska. I lived there for 2 years. So I'm going to go ahead and do Omaha, Nebraska. And this is just a test account. And here we have an Aries Ascendant. Oh, I love this. Aries Ascendant. And we have all the Capricorn placements up here in the 10th house. And if you notice, fixed stars are not going to come into play because they're not making a conjunction here. But yeah, so yeah, not making a conjunction here. But you can see, easily add. And then if you want to find a chart, you just click on charts and we could type in testy test. And here we have that chart, click on it, and there you go. So quite easy to add and find charts. And you can always edit, like I showed you earlier, you could add tags, you can change, maybe it's an event or a horary question that you're doing. You can also add the Rodden rating. So when you're adding in your own charts, especially like if you're doing a chart that is not already in the database, but you have a verified time, maybe you even have a birth chart, you can do that. So with that said, I want to show you that when you go to charts, there's a couple tabs. So you can look at your history of your charts. You can also look at what charts that you have favorited, which I think I've only favorited. Yeah, I've only favorited the United States Sibley chart, your own charts, but there's also public charts. So let's just say we wanted to look up, trying to think of a chart that I know that's in here. Of someone. Oh, well, let's go look up Adam Ant, which I know a lot of you guys may not know who he is, but he was a singer in the early 80s, sang the song Goody Two Shoes, quite a few other songs. Anyway, so we see that he is a Scorpio sun, and ascendant, a lot of Scorpio energy. And if you were to pull up images of him, you'd be like, oh, yeah, that makes sense because he's got dark hair, wears all like black leather with studs and face paint, and just kind of sexy, especially in his younger years. At least I thought so. But here we pull up his chart, and it gives you, so you can look up celebrities. This is through the autobiography, so there's a chance that this information could be incorrect, but it does give you the source. Now, something that I wanted to show is, and I think it's under the knowledge base, yes. So contact support. You can always contact support. And if you find, especially AA or A rating charts that are of public interest, you can contact Kevin and ask him to throw it in. He adds new charts all the time in there. But you can also just add them easily yourself, which I have a lot of celebrities, politicians, event charts that I've created. So if we go back to charts, you can see that I have created the chart for Iran, based on Nicholas Campion's book, World Horoscopes. So there's a lot that you can do with chart storage here, and because it's web-based, you're not worried about running out of any space. So with that said, I went over how you could do transits, charts. I'm going to go ahead, pull back up mine real quick, and I'm going to show you some other, oh, I hit the wrong thing. I don't know why I keep doing this. I don't usually do that, but okay, so I'm going to pull up my chart again, and I am going to show you that you can also do secondary progressions. And here we have my secondary progressions, and it shows where my sun is now in the sign of Capricorn. So I've become a lot more serious over the years, much more like rule following, which is funny because as a kid, I wasn't like that. So you can see the progressions. But I can also put the progressions. Oh, and just so you know, I just moved my mouse. You can also expand and the size of the wheel if you need to do so. But I can go ahead and add my natal bi-wheel. So I just click on natal bi-wheel, and now I have my natal chart in the center, and then the progressions out as the bi-wheel. So really cool thing. Now, if I wanted to remove the natal chart and then add a transit bi-wheel, I can do that as well. So I just click on that, and here's the progress chart, and the outside chart is now the transits. So with that said, can you do a tri-wheel? At this time, no, you can't. But because it is web-based, you can actually put two load up Luna multiple times, and I do that all the time. Sometimes I have like 5-10 tabs up because I'm doing research with, especially on mundane astrology. But you can put, resize it and put two next to each other. Kevin actually has a video on how to do that. It is on his list to add that tri-wheel. So I will tell you that is the one thing that I would say, once he gets that tri-wheel in, I would say there's no reason to really use another software program. But for now, it's still not there, but there are workarounds. So that's the cool thing. And if you're flexible like I am, because I have all that mutable energy, then that may be something that you can live with until that gets implemented. But that's another thing about Luna, is that Kevin is constantly adding things to it, and he listens to his clients. The fixed star tab Wasn't there when I started using Luna 5 years ago, but it's there now because I asked him to put it in, and like he was like, "Oh, I'm not sure when I can get that done. I don't really have, you're the first one who asked about it." And then it was like a short amount of time and it was in there. So just letting you know that it does change, and you don't have to worry about keeping it updated because Kevin does that. So it just, you open it up and there it is updated. Okay. Now, so if I were to remove the transits, I can also, I can, and now I have the progress chart, but let's just say I wanted to go back to the natal chart. I just hit return to natal chart, and there I am. And then let's just say I wanted to do the solar arc directions. I can do that. Or I can go back to my natal chart. I'm not going to go through each one of these, but you can also do a solar return chart, um, and hit go. So there's a lot on here. And right now I have it for 2025. But let's just say I wanted to know what my solar return chart was going to look like for 2026. I can just hit the forward button. There I am on 2026. Say I want to know the next year. There I am the next year. I can relocate my solar return chart as well just by doing that and then clicking cast return chart. So a lot of easy, just click, click, click. You don't have to keep reloading things in here. It just, to me, works very smoothly. This is why I love using this program with clients. Now, by the way, since I just thought about it, I am an affiliate for Luna. I'm not going to lie and say, oh, I just love to use this and I don't get anything out of it. I do. So I do get a percentage, a small percentage of sales when people click on it and buy it through me. But you also get a discount. You get a 10% off discount of the price. Something else I like is that you can either, like, let's just say you're like, oh, I'm on the fence. I don't know if I would like to use Luna or not. You can pay monthly, and it's a little bit more paying monthly. And then say you're like, oh, this is it. This is my software that I want to use. Then you could just do the annual. And what's cool about this, as long as you don't interrupt your subscription, you lock in the price that you sign up for. So I have a really good price because I signed up for it 5 years ago. And I make sure that I keep my billing information updated so I never lose that price. But yes, I am an affiliate, so you can get a discount. And of course, I'm going to have that in the comments here. Okay, so some other things that I just want to show. And keep in mind, I'm not showing everything. There is a lot of other videos, a lot of things to explore, but I love using the cycles. So I'm going to go ahead and click on cycles. And what this shows me is the solar ingresses and the lunation cycles. So right now we are, well, actually, I'm going to show August. So look at this sun and moon, sun and moon. Kevin shows you where you can find the eclipses with these little symbols. So when I click on the lunation cycle for August 12th, here we have the lunar eclipse because we got the solar eclipse because we have the sun here, and then the lunar eclipse. And it is showing you where you can find these. But as you see, we have the sun and moon conjunct at the exact moment where I live. So when you program your information, it's always going to default to where you live, but you can still change this. And this is what I do when I'm writing things for Washington, D.C. I will go ahead, type in Washington, D.C. I will cast the chart. You're going to see them separate, and then I just usually move 1 hour, and lo and behold, there it is again because of the different time zones. And then I've got it for Washington, D.C. So it makes it really easy. But if I want to go click on the full moon, I click on the full moon here. So I know the exact moment in Dallas, and of course I can change it, but to any city that I want. Um, but here I have the full moon. So this is what I use when I write my new and full moon articles. I just come here, I've got all my information. I can look at aspects that are going on, chart points. I can see if it's applying or, I mean, I don't usually have to do that. I can also see when things are going to perfect. So I don't know if you caught that, but he does give a list on when things are going to perfect. So it's a really easy to use tool. I love the cycles part. I use it all the time. Now I want to show you the ephemeris. So you can search by so many different ways. So we know, because today is June 21st, we know in a couple weeks that Uranus and Mars are going to make a conjunction. So we can start with today, but let's just say, I don't want to know just when the next one's going to happen, but I want to know when's the next Uranus Mars conjunctions while Uranus is in Gemini. So I know Uranus is going to be in Gemini for 7 years. So let's just take this out. And I'm actually going to go a little further. And you can do searches right now. There's like a 200-year block. Um, but let's just say I want to look through 2040. Okay. Um, and then I can search the aspect. And here we go. It takes a moment. What you can also see is all your prior searches. So if it's something that you search often, you can just go back through and look up your own searches. But here we have this search, and we can see that we're going to have on July 4th, early in the morning. So people are remember with conjunctions, it's that energy right before it goes conjunct that you're going to feel it the strongest at July 3rd, July 4th. There are going to be some pretty unique days, but we're going to have that conjunction July 4th, June 23rd of 2028. Then we're going to have it on June 15th of 2030. And then we're going to have it in Gemini on June 6, 2032. So we're going to be hit with this conjunction 4 times over the next, while Uranus is in Gemini. So roughly the next 7 years. And then, of course, Uranus will be in Cancer at this point, and then we're going to have a conjunction. So it shows you. So I can do like big list of different aspects. And what I like is that you can also download this into either a calendar or a spreadsheet. So some really, depending on the work that you're doing, this can make it quite easy and accessible to do things. Now, that was with the general search. You can also check direction changes. So let's just say if you're doing research on when is Mercury going retrograde, we could click on Mercury retrograde, click on retrograde. We could end the search. Let's just say we want to do this for the rest of this year. So 2027, I want to see, when is Mercury going retrograde from now to the rest of the year? Well, I know it's going at the end of this month on June 29th, but then we also have, and in the sign of Cancer, but then we also have another water sign, Mercury retrograde, on October 24th, and it'll begin there. So a lot of different ways to search. You can do zodiac sign transits if you want to know each day that the sign is going into each, the sun is going into each sign. Let's just say I want to go a year and a half out. I can click that and do the search. So this makes it, especially if you are writing articles or you want to create a calendar for yourself, there's just so many different things that you can do to do that, and track when everything is happening. And as you see, the sun's ingress is at 00. Really easy to use. I play around with it a lot now, but I didn't in the beginning. Um, and you can even look. So one of the things, so right now I am on the ephemeris generator. So one of the things that I like to look for sometimes is the declination. So again, if you're into out of bounds, and let's just see. So we know the sun never goes out of bounds. If you just want to clean it up, you don't have to. And we know that we don't really usually, I mean, Jupiter does go out of bounds, Saturn doesn't. But let's just say you wanted, and Neptune doesn't. So let's just say you wanted to see what planets were going out of bounds. You can go ahead, you could leave them all up. I'm just trying to make this not so intense. And let's just say I'm going to look for the next, I'm just going to do a few months. So let's just leave it here. Let's leave it at the default. And I generate the ephemeris. So you can generate ephemerises however you want, and this gives you everything as a snapshot. But if I wanted to look at that declination for Pluto, which actually doesn't happen until October, so I should have done this longer. But I can look at the moon. The moon goes out of bounds roughly every like twice a month right now. So you can go ahead and look at, oh, look, moon goes out of bounds on July 30. I mean, yeah, June 30th. And you can, oh, sorry, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Scratch that, sorry. But you can look at, actually, it is out of bounds around that same time too. I knew it was. But you can look at when it goes out of bounds. It actually goes out of bounds on the 27th. So you have to know what the degrees are to find that out of bounds, but you can easily find that. And to make this easier, I can go back so that I'm not struck by the longitude. I can remove the longitude and generate that ephemeris. So you can really like customize this however you want to customize it and pull up that information. And again, you can download this and sort it as well. So lot of things that you can do here. Oh, sorry, I went too far. A lot of things that you can do with the ephemeris. This is just very high level. If you do decide to sign up for Luna, I would definitely play with the ephemeris. I'm constantly learning new things that I can do with it, with the different sorting, with pulling up different aspects, different events. And it's great, especially if you're into mundane astrology and looking at patterns. You can do, I mean, there's just a lot you could do. Or even your own life. Pull up the how long you've been born and then do certain searches. So so this is a high level, well, I mean, I went into some depth here, but this is an overview of Luna software, which I absolutely love. I hope that this helped if you were on the fence on whether or not this is something you want to try. Like I said, it's not perfect, but it has a lot of features. It's definitely great for client work. And it's pretty solid for mundane work, except for when you're trying to get into multiple charts. Now, I will say it does have, and I'm going to show you one more thing. So I'm going to do transit biwheel with myself. And I'm sorry, not a transit biwheel, a synastry chart between myself. So and sorry, I had transits up. So I'm going to do a synastry chart. This is myself, this is my chart, and I'm going to add, you can do synastry biwheel. So I'm going to add a synastry biwheel And I'm going to use, since my parents are deceased, I do feel comfortable using their charts. So I'm going to use my mom and her chart. So anyway, we can see my mom's chart on the outer wheel. So the inner wheel is me and the outer wheel is my mom. And, her sun was, right in between my Mars and Venus. I'm not going to go in and do a whole reading on the two of us, but I just want to show you that this can be done. So if you're curious about putting in your relatives or to see how people are, you can see how they match up. You can also do a composite generator chart as well. Now, is there a lot to the composition, the composite charts and the in this industry? I don't usually use this much. I don't get that many clients that really want the synastry per se. And sometimes I will just pull up like transit bi-wheels and stuff and put in the other person. But there is the capability here to do so. I personally like to do two charts side by side because that really gives a big like how you operate together. Sometimes I think that people focus too much on the bi-wheels when it comes to synastry and not looking at the individual charts and how those two charts will be. But that's just my opinion. But I can also convert this back, to the two charts like this. But like I said, I can pull up Luna and then pull up my mother's chart, which I do think gives, and I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to remove all these chart points that I feel are a distraction right now. So I can just go remove, which is also nice because if you are with a client and you went through with some other chart points, but now you're doing transits and you don't want everything to look all discombobulated, you can actually do that, remove them while you're with the client. So I can go ahead, put these together. I can add a split screen and then do the tab here. I can, and I can look at my mom's chart here with my chart. I see she's a Pisces rising. Oh, look, I've got my Pisces moon. Like we can look at different things side by side. And if I were to, let me go ahead and click back on here. I've got Vera. Oh, sorry. I don't usually do this that often and definitely not in front of people. So I do apologize about this, but if I want to go ahead, look at my chart next to my mom's, it's easier, I find, this way. And then do the tab. And this is me here, and then add her. And then I've got them side by side. So I can see how these two charts interact with each other and how their mode is, how they are. Like my mom, all this mutable energy in her chart, and I have a lot of mutable energy, but yet I'm the one who tended to initiate things. And my mom, though, was also had her Mars in her sixth house, but hers is in retrograde. I can go through, talk about each house, how each person's going to act with each other. I feel like this is one of the best ways to really start a synastry reading, is going through like how each of them work, what subjects are important to them. Um, but anyway, but you can do this on your screen if you wanted to, and then you can add extra bi-wheels. There's just a lot that you can do. And that's what's nice about having a web-based program, is that you not only do you have the power of the program itself, but you also have the power of the operating system that you're using. So I'm going to go ahead, close this off here. So this is my high level overview. I have not covered everything, but I feel like this is a great program and I wanted to share it with you today. Again, if you want that discount, go ahead, go to the notes below, and I'm going to have all that information there for you. Take care, have a wonderful day, and I appreciate you giving me the time to show you, Luna. Bye-bye.